Welcome to the Lawless Astrology channel. My name is Dabney Lawless and I'm an evolutionary astrologer. What we do here on this channel is we look at how the planetary energy in the cosmos can help us down here on planet Earth to live a more conscious and peace-filled life. Today, we're going to be looking at Pluto going back into Capricorn on September 1st through November 20th and what that means for everyone here in the United States and the bigger global picture. We're also going to touch base on what Uranus retrograding back in Taurus, the sign of Taurus, means. And we also have a Virgo new moon coming up. So, a lot going on in this very beginning week of September. So stick around if this is content you're interested in. So Capricorn is people in power. Capricorn is the government. It is the media. It is the bankers. It is the gatekeepers. It's the billionaires, okay? It is the people who wield power. That's what Capricorn is. It's also the patriarchy. It is the father figure. So a healthy Capricorn really is about being in your highest integrity and wisdom and taking things from the past to bring it into the present to teach future generations. There's a lot of, just taking care of and protecting and providing. But Capricorn's a very conservative sign and it doesn't like to let go of power or the past. So Pluto shines a light on where things need to change, where things have broken down and are no longer serving our higher good. A lot of times what ends up happening in a personal or collective Pluto transit, if something is off track, Pluto will kind of annihilate and really hold a spotlight on where everything's broken to help it finish crumbling so it can then be built back new and stronger and more powerful in a healthier way, right? So a Pluto transit isn't to be feared. It is to be revered and understand that at the end of a Pluto transit, there's a lot more sanity that you can have because you've cleared out all of the gunk that is no longer serving you. Well, it's kind of like that too collectively. So Pluto comes into Capricorn, like I said, in 2008. And all of a sudden we see, that there was derivatives and there was all this kind of fake, funny, baloney money things and like kind of a house of cards. And Pluto doesn't like a house of cards. And the unfortunate thing, though, is instead of helping the people who were, taken advantage of or lost their homes or, were losing their jobs because there was a major recession, what happened was the government helped the banks and they said they were too big to fail. And there was kind of a bailout of the auto industry and there was a bailout of the banks and there was, kind of all of this stuff started on this path. 2016, we have someone enter the scene, 2015, 2016, who enters the scene who shines a big, big spotlight on what is wrong with our country and the places that we really have not wanted to acknowledge that things have been broken. And someone is catapulted to power who is no longer really interested in serving the people, but tells them that he is going to solve all their problems and make America great again. So that's very Pluto and Capricorn as well, because it's like, let's go back in history and hold on to the way things used to be, but really not defining when America was great, okay, but kind of this idealized vision. And that resonated with people who had been hurt during this time. So this person kind of shines a light and wakes people up to the racism, the misogyny, the sexism, the discrimination against immigrants, the widening of financial disparity. So this person really begins to shake up everyone, and everyone starts paying attention to politics. Everything in the news is politics and everything is doom and gloom. And then we have a pandemic that comes along, Pluto and Capricorn again, and that had some other things going on. But the symbolism was that we felt locked down. We felt very scared because we weren't taken care of by the government. We no longer knew who to trust. The gatekeepers were not protecting and providing for us. And so that's the biggest thing, is the trusted institutions were no longer helping people. And people felt betrayed. So Pluto went into Aquarius. We got a little respite. We got to see what was going to happen. And there was some accountability. Someone got indicted during Pluto and Aquarius. And then it went back into Capricorn. And then Pluto went back into Aquarius. And then we have a new female presidential candidate who happens to be a person of color, who happens to be someone whose campaign slogan is freedom. And we won't go back. All very Pluto and Aquarius. Okay, so now, here we go. We're moving back again. But I want to tell you why it's different this time. So when Pluto comes into our own personal chart, or when Pluto does a collective thing, when it enters a new sign or has a new aspect that it's making in your personal chart, what ends up happening is it's a several year phase. So for an aspect, personal aspect can be, 2, 3, even 4 years, you can feel it. But when it enters a new sign, Pluto has a lesson to teach us. And it says, pretty abruptly, this is what this is all going to be about. So you better get it together and figure out how you are going to do this the right way, because you've been messing things up. And so I'm here for some accountability. Well, unfortunately, I don't exactly think we got it all right when there was the big financial crisis. I think had we handled that better, then maybe we would have not gone through some of the painful things that we went through during this Pluto transit. But it's very hard in the beginning of a Pluto transit to know how to handle it because it's new. It's something that we are not familiar with. So we had this crisis of we can't trust the banks. Okay. People have been pulling funny business. But unfortunately, we didn't have the accountability that we should have had. Now, there were all sorts of changes and good things that came out of it. But there was a lot of bad things. And a lot of people lost homes and lost faith in government that they would do the right thing. So it's always a crisis in the beginning. The middle part is kind of like a big spotlight that you kind of now are out of the fog of having a crisis and you can sort of see what's going on. You've got this, something right before you that you don't know how to fix it necessarily, but you know it's not good. And so you start to put things in motion to fix it. You start to do the work. Okay, that's the middle part of it, is you start to do the work. So you feel like something's got to change, something's got to give. The final phases of a Pluto transit is the resolution. It's the everything has really gone off the rails, and it's an opportunity for that crumbling, let's call it like a glacier, it's glacial, right? And so things are kind of happening and happening and happening, and then all of a sudden a big chunk comes floating down, and you realize something big just happened. And so that's what's happening now. During this time, September 1st through November 19th, November 20th, is the final pass, the grand finale of Pluto and Capricorn. And what we're going to see during this time is that kind of falling apart of this plutocracy, this Pluto in Capricorn wanting to hold on to the past, wanting to hold on to power at all costs. And we're going to start to see what's going to happen as a result of that. There's going to be all sorts of drama. There's going to be there's going to be tricks and shenanigans and anything that they can do to kind of hold on to power. But the train has left the station. Okay, the train's already left the station. Pluto's already been in Aquarius twice. So we've already gotten a glimpse of the future, and we're not going back. So I just want everyone to know that even though astrologers are predicting a stressful time, it can be a stressful time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a stressful time in your own life. It might be, depending on, the different aspects. But just be prepared. The media is a part of these gatekeepers that are losing control. They're losing their grip on what once was a monopoly. So now we have content creators. We have the MeidasTouch. We have, on the right wing side, they have all sorts of their own whatever. But the point being is the Democratic Convention, they hosted a bunch of content creators, and the legacy corporate media was very upset about this because they recognized that it's a further deterioration of their power. Okay, so more people saw the Democratic National Convention with Kamala Harris on content created by content creators than on channels like ABC and NBC and CBS. So keep in mind that that's where people are starting to get their information from, which is also Pluto and Aquarius. Okay, it's like people, power to people. So do I think that it could be ugly and there's like a rehash on steroids of Stop the Steal and January 6th and suppressing the vote and lying and gaslighting and the media, really just whiffing it to the point that it's, egregious? Yes. Is all that going to happen? Probably. Is there going to be stress around who won? And I don't know. We could come out in giant numbers. I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know. But I do know that we've already been in Pluto and Aquarius and we don't want to go back. Like, we've seen the future and we're really not going to make America great again according to some patriarchal fictitious time that never really existed except for one portion of society. So that is the Pluto in Capricorn piece. So the grand finale, is there going to be destruction? Is there going to be stress? Is there going to be, unfortunate things that take place? Probably, but it's going to be okay. Just keep the faith. Okay. So, and then Pluto's going to go into Aquarius, which is a whole other video that I think has to do with technology and AI and, cyber hacking and stealing our identities, all sorts of fun stuff to look forward to. But it's a much more optimistic, forward-looking energy than Pluto and Capricorn, which can be very depressing because, again, we have these sort of archetype of the mom and the father. And if you can't trust your mom or your father, it's tough, right? So there's kind of a collective trauma that we've all been experiencing as a result of this Pluto and Capricorn. And I say that for no matter what side of the aisle you're on, because I believe that the people that are supporting a candidate that I don't support, I believe they are just looking for a strong figure to tell them it will be okay and to make them feel better about all of the shadow that is the United States possesses. So there is a collective change of our identity taking place. And it's really hard to say we won't go back. It's really hard to change. And a lot of people don't like it. And those people that don't like change and don't like what's happening in our country are not going to kind of just make it easy on us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a part 2 of this video with a wonderful psychic healer and just healer in general. Her name is Sybil Harmony. She has her own YouTube channel. And we are going to look at ways that we can collectively heal our trauma from Pluto and Capricorn. And the past however many years we've been graced with the presence of the United States shadow. So we're going to look at ways that we can clear that energy out of our own bodies so we can go into the future and go into this time in a much healthier way and ready to tackle this election and ready to come out the other side energized and not drained. Okay. So that's going to be part 2. I'm probably just going to put that out early next week. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be part 2 of Pluto and Capricorn with Sybil Harmony, and it's going to be about healing, and it's going to be all the things that we can do to heal ourselves. Okay. What else is coming up around this exact same time, synchronistically, is Uranus is moving retrograde in Taurus. So when Uranus moves retrograde, we have an opportunity to check in with ourselves and say, where am I not being true to myself? Where am I not living my authentic truth and what I know? So there's an opportunity to examine that. Taurus has to do with safety and security and the body and earth. Okay, so Taurus and Uranus has been in Taurus since I think 2016, the 20-teens. I'm sorry, I don't have the dates in front of me. But I remember when it went in 2017, 2016, whatever it was. And I had some fear around that, to be honest with you, because that has a lot to do with upheaval in the earth and changes, like dramatic, it was kind of a climate change thing to me and a lot of other astrologers. So I would say this is kind of a review period. This is like let's take a step back while we can and see how can we live authentically? How can we live in harmony with the earth without all of this destruction and all of the shocks and all of the things that are taking place? The earth is mad right now. We're not taking good care of her. So in our personal lives, the challenge wherever Taurus is in your chart, it can be, like let's say Taurus, you have Taurus in the second house. You can look and take stock of your finances, and you can look and say, like, where do I need to be more authentic in the way I earn money or the way I take care of my home financially, so look at where it is for you in your chart, and you can kind of get some clues in that way. You can always download my free beginner astrology book, which will help you figure out how to read your chart enough to know where you have Uranus and Taurus going retrograde. So for you, wherever that is, it's about looking and seeing how you can live a much more authentic life and where you're not being true to yourself. So the next piece of this puzzle that I want to talk about, and there are like a lot of other pieces, but I don't think it's helpful to make it too confusing. So the other thing I want to just talk about is there's a new moon in Virgo coming up around the same time, this August 1st, August 2nd time period. The new moon in Virgo is a really excellent time to make goals around service and health and protecting your body, taking care of your body, taking care of your pets and your animals. So set some intentions around eating well, going to the doctor, starting an exercise regime. If you already have an exercise routine, how can you, where do you want to maximize that? So set some intentions around that. Also, you can set some intentions around volunteering or helping others. How do you want to be of service in the world? I think is really important during this time. So I think that's the stuff that I wanted to cover in this video. It's also a great time to be of service in the sense that you can register people to vote, figure out, have a plan, create your plan for this next election cycle, which is coming up on us fast. So what do you want to do to be of service? Considering all three of these things are happening at the exact same time, how do you want to be of service? How do you want to be living in your most authentic self? And how can you protect your energy during this time where there's a lot of outside commotion and structural breakdown that has to happen for our greater good so we can build back stronger? So I think that's my video. I hope it's somewhat helpful. And as always, there's a reason and a season for it all. And the universe is conspiring to help you. So just hang in there. Know that we got this, stargazers. Until next time.